So, as we turn our attention once again to the NCAA tournament, I believe we are ready with one of South Jersey's finest over to my left to now welcome on another that lives in South Jersey lore. From Pittman, New Jersey, it is Jon Crispin joining us here on the early line, a great at Penn State who will be on the call for multiple NCAA tournament games on Westwood One, which you can check out on Sirius XM Channel 88. Jon, we appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us here bright and early on this Wednesday morning on TEL.
Hey, my pleasure. My time of relevance is running out. There's only a couple more weeks left in the season. So, look, I'm happy to do this. And the fact that anybody even knows I'm from South Jersey, that just makes it even better.
Well, listen, Jon, I did the intro, but the man that you see on your right side, Donnie right side, is from where you are or nearly where you are as well. I feel like he should have done the introduction, right, Donnie?
It should have been. I mean, this is the right guy to have on at this time. And if anybody knows from South Jersey, I went to Sterling High School, which is in Camden County, Pittman, New Jersey, home to some great basketball here, and the Crispin family. Let's keep in mind here, Ben, let me give you a background. If you're talking about playoff basketball, this guy scored 62 points in a playoff game in South Jersey. And if you want to talk about Steph Curry shooting from logos, this man right here did it first in South Jersey. Look, let's get after it. Let's have some fun. This is the right guy to talk to, Ben, here in the tour.
I appreciate that love. I really do. I don't get the most of what I get in my job is, how did you get into this business? I'm like, well, I played. And they're like, high school? Like, that's all I get. So, I appreciate a little love.
Listen, allow us, Jon, then, to be your hype men anytime you make an appearance anywhere to get ready for a college basketball game. So let's focus on the NCAA tournament. Again, you will be on the call on Westwood One for all the action we see in the big dance. As you look at the bracket overall, as we start with the generic view, and you look at the four regions, East, South, Midwest, and West, in your estimation, Jon, which portion of the bracket is the most difficult path to a Final Four?
It's somewhere in the East. It really is. And my concerns are less about some of the matchups that may scare you and more about how you look ahead. I think that's one of the more dangerous things that we forget to talk about is it's really easy to look ahead in the bracket at big matchups, particularly when you look at the East. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the East are ridiculous. So in your minds, what you do as a team is you start to anticipate a little bit. You look ahead. But what have we learned about college basketball this year? It's like no one's that good. Anybody can beat anybody. So the last thing you can do is look past your first opponent. So I just think the East is loaded in a number of ways. And the thing is, anybody with a 7, 8, 9, 10, and frankly 11, 12, 13, 14, they're dangerous. I mean, I know, yes, 15s and 16s have beaten 1s and 2s. That's great. But I still don't bank on them year in, year out. I think that's an anomaly and still will be. But the depth of the NCAA tournament this year, we call it parity, but, man, it's just quality depth. No one's really that good, which allows everybody else to rise. I feel like the basement in a lot of conferences have risen while the ceiling has maybe been lowered. And I think we're going to be the beneficiaries of that in the NCAA tournament.
Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun as it plays through, Jon, because UConn is the favorite here at the FanDuel Sportsbook at a plus 370 price to cut down the nets. You played high Division I basketball there, obviously, with UCLA and also at Penn State. Talk to us about, you have to win 6 games in a row against quality competition, all traveling and on neutral courts. How hard is that to do, and how do you get your team prepared to do that?
Well, look, it's really hard to do when you have to constantly adapt to the opponent. I think it's much easier if you take that John Wooden approach, which, granted, his teams were always just better than everybody else, so you've got to consider that. But the John Wooden approach was, hey, we're going to do what we do and make sure we do it to the best of our abilities. So we're going to maximize our potential, and if we do that, we don't lose, right? There's nobody that can beat us. I think that's the approach you've got to take in the NCAA tournament. There are going to be certain things matchup-wise that you can do, maybe to limit, certain aspects of your opponent, maybe a certain player or a skill set. But you can't get so committed to stopping everything that an opponent does on a short notice, right? On short prep. You really got to focus on maximizing your potential, trying to dictate the way the game's played. That's the biggest one to me. We talk about matchups. Well, matchups really come down to how the game's played. So if there's a certain style matchup, well, who can dictate the style of the game? That matters. So, again, experience matters. Why does experience matter? Well, experience is preparation, but it's also being able to dictate the game. Old dudes know how to play the game the way they want. And I think that is the most important thing in the NCAA tournament, right? That experience that allows you to settle in, make the game yours, and not be chasing an opponent for 40 minutes, because that never really bodes well in the NCAA tournament.
So, John, the big dance starting last night in Dayton. Wagner picking up its first ever NCAA tournament win in program history. Virginia can't score, and Colorado State won by 25 to advance as the 10 seed in the Midwest region. As we focus on some other significant news in the Midwest region, Bill Self telling reporters last night that Kansas will be without Kevin McCullar Jr. for the entirety of the NCAA tournament. How significant, John, is the absence of McCullar for the Jayhawks in the big dance?
I mean, look, it's significant on both sides of the ball. I mean, this is a guy with 2 triple doubles. It's not just like he's a good scorer every now and then. He's their leading scorer. It's not like he's a good defender. He's their best defender. So it is significant. And the other part is Hunter Dickinson's not healthy. So Hunter Dickinson's not healthy. No Kevin McCullar. And in a very matter-of-fact way, by the way, which almost makes you think that they made this decision a while ago, and there was a little gamesmanship there. But I'm very concerned about Kansas. I was concerned about Kansas all season. I never really liked their balance, never liked their depth. I thought they were good because of the personnel they had. But when you start chipping away at that personnel, you got problems. So major concerns for Kansas. If that's the case, I mean, they're going to have to really prove that they even deserve the seeding they got.
Yeah, that 4-13 matchup in the Midwest against Samford, the champions of the SoCon, was going to be difficult already. The Bulldogs, one of the best three-point shooting teams in all of the country. The line was 9.5 in favor of KU before we got the official confirmation on the status of Kevin McCullar Jr. Now just 7.5 in favor of the Jayhawks. John, we appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us here. And you can hear Jon Crispin on the call throughout the NCAA tournament on Westwood One, Channel 88 on Sirius XM. John, safe travels to wherever your destination is for the NCAA tournament.